Bank of America, and they seem to be saying we're going to scale back a little bit on our risk here. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe because of the Steinhoff experience, because I know that was searing. I've talked to people inside the bank who said, what on earth is going on here?
Yes, I think that was something that really hit hard. They lost about $300 million, I think, towards the end of last year on that deal. This one's a tricky one, right? Because Bank of America took a lot of losses in the financial crisis, as we all know. So the question is, are they going to end up being right if they're de-risking some and we're, by many accounts, at the end of the credit cycle or late in this credit cycle? So they could look smart. Or are they going to fall behind, as it looks like they did in the first quarter, on things like fees for advising on deals, behind JP Morgan on leveraged loan offerings? So it's a question of, do you go conservative and be one of the first ones and great at the end, or do you fall too far behind?
But, well, I don't know about falling too far behind, but if you talk to Brian Moynihan, as I've done, both on camera and off, he has no choice. He, in his mind, says, you do not go after too much risk. He was there in the bad days. I mean, he inherited a mess they had to clean up. And he took them through that and really cleaned it up a lot. And he has said repeatedly on camera with me, I mean, we don't need to take that much risk. We'll take the more conservative route. We'll take the risk of leaving something on the table.
Which I also feel is interesting because as an investor, say 12 months ago, you were looking at banks as a whole. You were looking at the yield curve, you were looking at rates, you were looking at CCAR, and you were looking at earnings, right? But now I feel like as the banks are able to take on more risk, it's going to be more of an idiosyncratic call because you know that Goldman is taking more risks. Some talk about how Harvey Schwartz was less of a risk taker than Gary Cohn, and that didn't serve him well necessarily when he took over that spot at Goldman Sachs, versus the other guys like a Bank of America who don't, and which one's going to come out on top?
Absolutely right. In fairness to Bank of America, they would say you don't have to make that choice. We can actually grow the bottom line.
Sure.
We can really grow the profitability without really growing the risk. That's what they believe.
But then you're going to have just different quality banks.
Yeah, that's right. It's a different bank.
Banks doing different things,
that's
and
right.
that's going to have investors create different opportunities.
That's a good idea.
And as you said, it's going to differentiate the leadership, and also some of these banks in Europe that are having to retrench, aka Deutsche Bank, will they not be able to do some of these maneuvers that the other banks are choosing to do right now?
Further